Greetings, Patrick here. 8 questions with. Welcome to the show. All right. Wow. First of all, I want to say thank you for everybody who came out yesterday. Uh, one of those, uh, one of those making lemonade out of lemons shows. That happens once in a while. But you guys came through, and I actually had a lot of fun last night. Um, and we're gonna have a lot of fun tonight because tonight's guest will show up. So that's really cool. Jeff Clark Jr. will be our guest, and he'll be in about 15 minutes or so. Had a great time on Mike's show. Did you see that episode 62? And I was joined by several guests, Kieran and Jason and Sin, myself and Mike. We had a blast. I saw my old friend Eric from Family Video. Holy cow, he came over to the show. Um, wow, that was cool. Eric and another young lady named Ashley. They and a few other people they were the ones that helped me out getting out my ISC collection. Much of the 240 something movies that I got came from Family Video, and it came from them. Uh, oh, hey, Mike, there you are. Just talking about you. I had a great time. Um, Super fun, a lot of laughs. Um, do not mention Halloween ends around sin. That's the first lesson I learned. The second lesson I learned is that Mike has a huge to watch list. It's going to be massive. And we gave some movies on the list. We put some movies on this list to watch, um, including this one, which I watched today. It was my first time watching, and I got to tell you how absolutely enjoyable this movie was. So I watched a Miss Marple mystery from the 60s. This is Agatha Christie's Miss Marple. This is the character where Jessica Fletcher came from, that was inspired for Murder She Wrote. So this is Murder She Said. Um, this was so entertaining. I'm going to be doing a review of it after the show here tonight for Dollar Tree Theater. This is my Dollar Tree Theater. Um, had so much fun there today. Great time, good friends, and yeah, and Mike's gonna be coming over here come December. Did you see that channel? He'll be coming over here in December. We're gonna be interviewing him, and I cannot wait for that. In fact, I will probably be able to give him a date before I go off on vacation. Chadwick's here. Chadwick Whitmere, ready for rock and roll this weekend. Malcolm is going to be shown on the big screen. Um, I do hope that Chadwick, and I already know that he will be, he and Alex Javo, I do know that they will be filming their experience this weekend. And I really do hope they have a great deal of fun with that. Um, wow, that's really neat. I'm so happy for the both of them. They both deserve all the success. Um, you know what? I will. I'm going to do that. I'm going to dedicate my question. I'm going to dedicate my question to Sin. I'm going to say, this is for our friend Sin. She wants to know, what do you think about Halloween Ends? Uh, of course, if he turns around, he likes it. Oh my gosh, I'm afraid that Sin will track me down. Um, that's whew, we'll have to hope that Jeff has either not seen the movie or he did not like it. But if he did like it, uh-oh. Um, so this will be our last show before I go on a hiatus. I will be I think we're doing one watch. Yeah, we're doing one watch party before we go. We're probably gonna do that on either Saturday or Sunday. I know that I'm supposed to be doing with Katie. We might be doing some Hallmark action, and then there's one I'm gonna be doing called Homestead. I'm going to be doing Homestead, a live watch party for a movie called Homestead. And there is Anna, our favorite Maple Leaf, our favorite Canadian, Anna, in the house. She had a really cute video of her cat, and I love that. Anthony is here. He says it is hot in New York City. It is hot in Topeka. Um, I yeah I'm phew, yeah I definitely need it. I definitely need it. But you know what? It's good though, because you know what? You go away for a month, you turn off everything behind you, and then when you come back, you're full of energy and ready to rock and roll. And we will be. Why I will not be back on until December, about the 15th of November. I will be looking to start booking the month of December. So while I won't be seen, I will be heard. Um, oh, okay. Anna is working her way to 1,000. As a matter of fact, and Anna you can drop your video. You can drop your link or your new video anytime you wish. So Jeff Clark, let's talk a little bit about Jeff. Jeff is a fine actor and screenwriter himself. He's also produced. He's won some of Best Actor awards, including one for a short called Starcrossed, which was written and directed by our friend Pat Bradley, who's been on the show um, as well. He's got some other fine films listed as well, including The Things We Cannot Change, I Had No Choice, and Rewired. He also has a lot of upcoming films as well. He's got a really his pedigree is really strong. So he's been nominated for an Emmy. Um, he graduated from the Art Institute of Philadelphia and has worked in various networks like Sci-Fi Channel, Sci-Fi Universal, NBC Universal, MTV Paramount, Major League Baseball, and NHL networks. I'm looking forward to asking him what he did for those folks. Um, his theatrical training started at Stanford Meisner's, the neighborhood playhouse. So we know that Jeff is a method actor. We could tell that just by that set, right? Just right there, which is located in New York City. He has studied under uh, acclaimed teachers such as Gary Kingston and Richard Pinter. He also received training at the Actors Axiom under James Ciccone. I think that's how I said it. So yes, so we have a lot to talk about with Jeff, including his own screenwriting ability, which is starting to get noticed. He recently had a screenplay that was nominated for one of the better ones. It was a finalist. Um, so he definitely has some skills, that's for sure. Let's see. Let me go back here. All right, there you go. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Let me go ahead and do that. I'm here. Yeah, that way that'll be a little easier. That'll be a little easier. All right. This is going to be a fun interview, Chadwick, for sure. I'm looking forward to this. Um, I actually met Jeff and Melanie Gretchen, who also appeared on the show. I met them both when we interviewed Pat Bradley on the show. So I've had them in the back pocket for a little bit. I went ahead and I interviewed Mel first, and then I turned around and now I got Jeff. And so I'm really happy about that. Um, and while yesterday we're making lemons out of lemonade, we're making lemonade out of lemons yesterday. Um, I inadvertently found two different horror hosts. I might have lost count Gregula, but I think we're going to rebound just fine with the horror hosts that I found. I think they're going to be able to uh, do interview. I believe they will. So and there are a few more horror hosts than I realized. I did not realize there were so many out there. So I was really happy about that, discovering that, because I've been wanting to, now that I got the what do they call that? And then would you put the horse, the bit. Yeah. Now that I got the bit in the mouth, I want to interview a horror host. Um, yeah, that's for sure. Thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate it so much. Uh, so this could be a lot of fun. Uh, I have to see Starcrossed. I know Pat Bradley sent it to me. I have to watch that, and actually going to review that. I've gotten a lot of screeners lately. So I got that one to watch, Starcrossed. Our friend Francisco from Italy, he sent me the third. He sent me the Francisco. He sent us the third part of his Friday the 13th Origin of Evil. He sent that to me to watch. There is I I think I will be having that on in December, Bobby. That's what I'm hoping my very best. And there is Melanie Gretchen. We just talked about her like just a second ago. So she is here visiting. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support, Melanie. And she also did a interview with us. I'm hoping for the first. I'm hoping for the first or mid part of December, Bobby. I've talked to two different ones, so I'm just gonna wait till I hear back from them. Hey, Jennifer. Jennifer P. Tux is here. Fine writer, working on screenplays. Herself. Um, wow, we're gonna have a. I think we're gonna have a really rocking show tonight. Share us out if you can, if you'd like to. Share us out. Um, and if you're on Instagram, by the way, if you're on Instagram or Threads, I am on Threads, so you guys can follow me there. Threads looks to be like a, well, it's still crazy, I guess, but it seems to be like what Twitter used to be when Twitter was cool. There seems to be, yeah. So I'm on Threads, and if you guys want to stop by and say hello, that would be awesome as well. Uh, wow, we got 9 people here. Let me make sure that Jeff is cool with getting on. I'm sure he is. Yep. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Jeff's right here. All right. Just want to make sure that he is copacetic. He is. He is not ping me. That means he is able to come on. Uh, yeah. Say hi to everybody. Please feel free to drop your links of your if you could drop links for everybody. Those who are moderators, that would be awesome as well. And Bobby, you and I got to talk to you because we got to go back and reschedule our superhero rankings. I definitely want to do that. I want to do that, and if hopefully we could do that. Hopefully we could do that on like a Sunday afternoon or something like that. We'll do it in 2 parts. I would love to do that. You're Yeah, Bobby Lapierre, who he writes for Film Threat magazine. If you see Bobby right above you, you definitely want to go over there and sub to his channel too. Wow, that you'd really do. Uh, and when you do, go to his playlist, find superhero rankings, and be prepared to be entertained. Bobby is when you see Bobby, you think that he's like a choir boy. He's wholesome. He's innocent. He could be a Brady Bunch kid. But wait till you start hearing him talk about the movies. Pure comedy gold. But with smarts. He knows what he's talking about. But he is absolutely hilarious when he does his rankings. I kept on egging him on to do rankings. Um, yes, his rankings. I said you got to do it again because I would just sit there and just laugh. There were many days. There are many days where it wasn't a good day here, but I would put on Bobby's his videos and just be entertained as hell. So I appreciate that. A Partridge Family, yes, yeah. I guess you would be. Yeah, I guess you would be Danny. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. So, yeah. Yeah, I definitely wanna do that though. I just trying I knew that this was gonna be my, I knew October was gonna be my last month for a while, so I did not wanna overload it with a lot of shows. I just wanted to get in here, make these ones count, and then go on vacation. All right, Jeff Clark has just rang the doorbell, so you know what that means. We're gonna go get Jeff, and we're gonna have a fun time. Thank you guys all for coming. Hope you guys will stay for the whole show. And here we go. Ta-da! And we are here. Oh my gosh. Look out. It's Hugo Weaving, everybody. Or or it's V. What's going on?
Remember the 26th of October.
That's right. Man, I always wanted to interview Hugo Weaving too. So, oh, holy cow, it's Jeff Clark Jr., ladies and
Hey, what's
gentlemen.
up?
Wow, all right.
How
Um,
we doing?
good, good. How are you, my friend?
Pretty good. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, well, we're gonna hit you with a hard question right off the bat. This
Let's
is from
go. Bring it. Bring it.
this is from our friend Sin. This is from our friend Sin.
Okay.
She'd like to know your thoughts and opinions on Halloween Ends.
Halloween ends. Never saw it. I
Oh,
like that.
oh my gosh, we're saved. We're saved.
Never saw it.
I guess I could ask Bobby for his opinion, and then that should count. Um,
What did you
uh,
think? Did you like the ending? I
I
haven't
did
seen
not.
it.
You know what? Here's my thoughts about what I thought. This is what I thought about what they should have done.
Okay.
My thing was, okay, you got Halloween Kills, and they set up the director, David Gordon Green. He put in several different Easter eggs from Halloween 3. I thought for them to have their cake and eat it too was in the third one was to have Lori and her granddaughter fight find out that Michael's being controlled by the Shamrock Corporation. He's
Mm,
he he's underneath their spell. They have to go inside the Shamrock's building, and they have to when they're fighting Michael, they have to break that curse. They have to like break that hold, and
right.
in order to defeat him. So once they go in there and they fight and they destroy what's binding him, he it causes them to basically him causes him to basically have a mind wipe. So he's now just a husk. He has no memory of anything. So he's defeated, and Laurie Shore gets to walk away and never be bothered because he doesn't know who she is at all. So he stays alive, she stays alive. You can continue the story down further, and you incorporate the Silver Shamrock into any future storylines. That's how I would have done it.
Okay. Man, it sounds like you should direct some films here.
Because the only thing I really wanted to, the only thing that really mattered to me was that Laurie Strode did not die. That's the only thing that was important to me because she was innocent. She is an
Yeah.
innocent victim in all of this. Now I know they retconned it so that she's supposed to be Michael's brother, but you know what? They didn't establish that in the first movie, so that's no. I never accepted that she was related to Michael. I never accepted that. That's just really it's cheap. It's cheap writing.
I
I
got you.
I liked it. I liked it that she was just an innocent babysitter caught in the falls, just caught between a rock and a hard place. I think it made her story a lot more interesting to me. But all I know is that at the end of the day, she should not die because she didn't do anything to deserve it. So to me, that was what was important to me, is that she survived, and she did. Um, let's
Okay.
see.
Halloween ends, huh?
Halloween ends. Let's see.
I'll check it out.
Oh, Melanie's here. And John here. Hi, John. How are you? John Kerner is here. Thank you so much for coming out.
What's up,
Uh,
guys?
and and Melanie has a question. She says, "What's your favorite horror film?"
Favorite horror film? Ooh. You know what I watched recently? I was like, damn, this is pretty cheesy and campy, but I still love it. Is The Gate. Remember The Gate? It's like
Yes.
a 80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
still
a.
like that movie. It's kind
They,
of
they
campy
have
and
a
shit,
couple.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I think that one had like Steven Dorff in it. He plays like the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
I think they made a movie similar to that called John and the Hole. And I think it came out of ISC Midnight. It was about this kid who basically locks his family up in his basement. And he's
Okay.
just that's what he does. He puts them in a basement or a
Yeah.
hole a bit, and then he just lives his life. And he comes out there, and I'm still looking for it. I haven't found it yet. I'm still looking to buy
Um,
that.
okay. It's The Hole, you said?
I think it's called John and the Hole.
John in the Hole? Okay.
John and the Hole. Bobby, who's a film writer for Film Threat Magazine, is in the chat, and he probably knows what I'm talking about here, because he sees everything. Um, yeah. So, the Gate, that'd be a good one. You don't watch a lot of horror, or do you?
I mean, it depends. I saw would you consider barbarian horror? Is that kind of horror? I
Yeah,
guess so.
that's horror.
Yeah. I like that. I like that movie actually. I thought it was decent for today's
But mo-
standards.
but movies like Friday the 13th, or the
Yeah,
new
there's a
Saw
classic.
movie.
Yeah, there's a classic. But
Okay. So,
yeah, they're okay. I mean, Exorcist, like I mean, I'm not like gonna dive into like a ton of B movies or anything because I'm not that educated on them. But I would say if I had to pick one to watch forever, it's probably The Gate. I know it's kind of cheesy, but I like it.
yeah,
And
I like the choice. It's different. It's different, and I definitely like different. I definitely
yeah,
like different.
it
Um,
definitely scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. That's for sure.
yeah, I'm Bobby approves. He says the Gate is great. Hi, Katie. How are you? And Bobby says that it is called John in the Hole, and it's good.
Jonathan,
Yeah,
okay.
so I wanted to. I got to try to get a copy of that. Um, do you collect movies as an actor? Do you collect movies, and how do you watch movies? Do you watch movies? I've asked this a couple of times, but interested in the answer. But you being a working actor yourself, how do you watch movies? Do you watch movies to be entertained, or do you find yourself watching the actors and wondering how you play the role differently?
Both, to be honest with you, both. And it's kind of a curse because
Yeah,
because you're always looking for something, mistakes and stuff. And oh, I could have done that a little bit better, or damn, that was really good. I could have never done that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I watch it. I look at movies both ways. And I'm actually very, as I mentioned, The Gate. I'm like an '80s, '90s kid, '80s and early '90s kid. So I find myself watching a lot of old movies over and over and over again, and I usually find something new all the time. Like every time I watch it, I find something new to enjoy about it. So
now that when you sit there and say you look at 80s and 90s movies, and you sit there and say they're old movies, that making me feel really old. So
sorry, Pat.
because I'm a 70s kid. Oh my
Okay,
God. Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
back in the ancient days of the 90s. Holy, yeah,
yeah. But I don't
holy
know.
cool.
I just felt like movies were made a lot better back then, and today everything is. I don't know. I mean, you definitely get your really good movies out of Hollywood, but not like you used to, in my opinion.
No, no. See, let's see. And Bobby's listing down movies with the hole in them. There's the hole. Yep, I remember that one as well. See, Anna is saying, and Katie's here, and she's well. Can you see the chat? Okay. Can you see the chat, Jeff?
Oh yeah, yeah, I can see
Okay,
it.
okay. Okay. Anna is saying that she was born in 1975.
Yeah,
Wow.
1975 was here.
Ah, boy. Anna's just a youngster. Uh, so yeah, you're right. I mean, I would think that it would be a definitely definitely a curse because it'd be like you trying to relax. You're sitting there
Yeah,
watching movies with friends or a date or your wife or what have you, and you want to be just be to escape. But you're right. I mean, you're sitting there watching it, and it's hard to do that because
yeah,
you're sitting there wondering, how would I have played that role differently? Or did they make the right choices? Or they could have used some better lighting here. I mean, you're
yeah,
basically
yeah.
watching it as a like if you're on set. Um, does it take it
Absolutely.
away? Does it take it away from your enjoyment of the movie?
No, no,
Yeah.
no. It doesn't. It doesn't. It's just a different perspective to watch movies in. And it's weird. You got to try to block that out. And
Mm.
I mean, I'm an art director for a living. Like that's what pays the bills. So that's another. It's kind of combined with acting, and I see the way sets are, or the graphics are, or the title sequences are, and I'm like, "Ew." Like I'm like, wow, I'm blown away. It just depends. It's a different perspective. You know what I mean?
Now you mentioned art director. What does an art director do?
It depends on what the project is. It could be like I'm an art director for motion design and 3D visual effects. So I kind of look at like visual effects and special effects for living in graphics and for commercials, various different projects. Right now, I'm working for MLB and NHL, so I'm art
Yeah, I was
director
going to ask
for
you
it.
about that. Now, do
Yeah,
you work on their graphics like during their programming? You provide graphics and
yeah,
background information for MLB and NHL? Wow.
yeah, yeah. They're both in a joint venture right now, so they're both in the same building, and I work on graphics for both sports.
That's cool.
My day
That
job.
must be a lot of fun. Do you get
Yeah.
tickets for that? Do they come
Sometimes,
by
yeah,
and give you?
yeah.
Do they give you? Wow, that's a
Well,
perk.
they offer them, and then it's not you don't have to really fight for them. But it's first come first serve. So whoever gets
Right.
their first copy of the tickets, but yeah, they definitely offer them sometimes.
Oh, that's neat. That's neat.
Yeah.
How long you been working for the for MLB and the hockey league?
Um, MLB, almost 11 years now. They're a great company. And NHL joined with them. I think like 2 or 3 years into um my time with MLB. So yeah,
Wow, that's neat. That's a fun job to have. But your love is definitely acting. So, and your
oh yeah,
background is stellar. I mean, you have a
man,
lot. You went to school for it. Where did
yeah.
you? What did you? I know it's the oldest question to ask, but where did you get your start at? I mean, when did you know this is something you wanted to do? And what made you become a method actor versus non-method?
Oh, I'm not a method actor.
You're not? 'Cause I saw you studied at Meisner, and
Yeah,
that's
that's
method.
that's the Meisner technique.
Yeah. Isn't that
Yeah,
isn't
that's
that a different form of method?
oh yeah, yeah. Method is
Okay.
Lee Strauss. Method is Lee Strasberg.
Okay, so
That's
what's the Meisner technique?
Meisner technique is just a different acting technique. Who it was invented by Sandy Meisner, and I studied with Gary Kingston or under Gary Kingston and Richard Pinter when I was there.
Okay.
Um, and they studied under Sandy Meisner, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's called the Meisner technique. It's a
And
different.
can you how does that work as terms as how does it work for you as an actor? Does it prepare you for different roles differently? I mean, some people, everybody does everything a little bit differently. So how
Yeah.
does the Meisner technique prepare you for roles?
Well, I can tell you method is more it's more substitution and living or pulling things from the past to evoke emotions. That's more method, and you
Okay.
kind of live in the character outside or offset as well. So you kind of become that character, not just on set, but offset as well. You kind of interact with your family as that character, I guess. Like I said, I didn't study it, but I do know I'm familiar with it somewhat. Meisner technique doesn't believe you have to do all that. Meisner technique believes, Sandy Meisner said, living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. So that's the mind state behind the Meisner technique. There's emotional preparation, um, and there's the exercise is called the repetition exercise. It kind of teaches you how to tap into your emotions without having to pull from your past and create these events that make you evoke emotion. You can just pull from it right there, then and there. So
So
that's
it's
that's the difference.
actually it actually protects you as an artist.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, 'cause I know that yeah, I know that in method it can be very extreme. But
Yeah.
I really did. I thought Meisner was part of method acting.
No,
I
I think my history with acting is as far as like the founders. Um, but at one point it was I believe it was Stella Adler, Sandy Meisner, and Lisa. I believe they were all together in a group, a theater group at one point, and then they broke off because they believed in different ways to teach acting, and they had different ideas on how to teach the students. So at one point, I think one or two of them, or at least all of them, were together. I think.
think
Don't
you're
hold me
right.
to that, but I have to look that up. But yeah,
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah.
yeah.
Now, so did you get your start when you were a teenager or earlier?
Um, I came up through a different avenue actually. I mean, I was always in plays when I was a kid, like school plays and like church plays and stuff like that. But I always like from as far back as I can remember, I always knew I wanted to be an artist because I could draw really well. So I kind of came up through that avenue when I went to art school after high school at the Art Institute of Philadelphia, and I studied animation. So I was basically acting out characters through the animation. That's studying that. So I kind of fell in love sideways instead of going right to acting. I kind of fell in love through animation, creating characters, creating stories. Do you know what I mean? Um,
Did you do voice actors? Did you do voice acting for your characters?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
Oh,
still do voice acting for my daughter and her friends. They're always like, "You should be a voice actor." So I
yeah.
do all like the cartoon characters.
Is that easy? Is that how do voice actors do it? Like I've seen some actors that have worked for DC, and they've gone behind the scenes, and you see them. I mean, a lot of people think that a voice actor will be in a soundproof room,
Yeah,
earphones over
studio.
the head, and then act that way.
Hmm.
But like some of the actors, they're not having earphones on and they're not in a soundproof room. Well, they're out there with their notes and their script in front of them, and they're acting. There's
Yeah,
nobody there but the people filming doing the animation, but they're out there acting. They're
yeah,
like when they're throwing, I mean, it's really intense to see that. um
yeah, yeah.
are you more of a physical guy, that you mean that like you got to show your emotion and movement, or can you go inside of a booth and have the same sort of emotion doing voice
Yeah.
acting?
I feel like I'm comfortable with both. I mean, to be honest with you, I've done a lot of voice recording and stuff like that. I used to make music all the time, so I'm very comfortable behind a microphone in the studio. I haven't had the opportunity yet, but I hope. I mean, that'd be awesome to do that, for a major production. But
Oh,
uh,
I
but
think
yeah,
it's cool as hell. And
yeah,
and
man.
and it's not an easy talent to have, is it, Jeff? I mean, voice acting is it's a lot different from
Yeah.
live theater and from film. What are some of the differences doing voice acting than from a theater and from film? What are some of the things that we wouldn't know about
Some of the things you wouldn't
what
know.
the yeah, I mean, as far
Uh,
as voice
that's a
acting
good
goes,
question.
I don't know that much about it. I mean, so I don't know much about the preparation for it. I'm not sure about the mindset about it. Like, are we just
Yeah.
reading off of a script and putting the emotion in our voice, or
I mean,
how
that's a good question. I wish I had an answer to it, but I would think you approach it the same exact way you would approach any character. You would dive into it, you would do research, you would understand the circumstances and the tone of the scenes. So I think that, I mean, that's how I would approach it anyway.
yeah.
You know?
That's exactly what I want to know what you would do, because
Yeah, yeah,
everybody's different. But
that's
I
what
want
I
to know
would do.
how you approach it. That's
Absolutely.
fun. That's fun. Man, I'd like to see what you could do with a superhero script.
I don't know. Superhero. Oh man. Yeah, who knows?
Wouldn't it be? I mean, I mean, because I mean, you think about some of
Uh,
these. You think about some of the voice actors and whatnot. You know,
yeah,
they're all adults, and if you go watch, we see all these cartoons out there, and there's so many
yeah,
veteran voice actors. Like Frank Welker's still out there doing it.
right.
That
That's true.
that guy. Yeah. Um, someone came up there and said, "Hey, we want you to be a voice actor on an episode of Scooby Doo." How much fun would that be as a working actor, right?
Hell yeah, you got to snatch that up, man. Yeah, it's experience. You got to do it. You got to do it.
Yeah. Um, so you started out as a youngster. So as for art, now
Yeah,
I was wondering where your writing came into it because you are now screenwriting as well. So I wanted to
yeah.
know if you started writing at the same time that you're doing your art.
No, I appreciate you asking. Yeah, and I didn't think about writing. I always wrote like you coming up in high school and stuff like you write poetry and like raps and rhymes and stuff. But at least where I'm from. But I didn't start writing stories until college, like artist too, until I attended there, and I had to write stories for the characters, different scenes, how they were interacting. Before you even animate them, you have to have a script. So that's where I started learning how to write properly. But yeah, I actually wrote a feature film in college. Called It's so bad, by the way, it's terrible. It's called Philly Mobster. That'll hit you in the face, right? Philly Mobster. It's just so on the nose. It's so bad, but yeah, I was like, I want to write a feature, and I read it like a year ago. I was like, oh my god, it's so bad. So
Did it get
um,
made into a film?
no, it was a feature. It was really bad. No
Oh,
one's gonna buy that.
oh, well,
uh,
but you know what? But you went out there and did it, right? So you
Yeah,
learned
but
from it.
that's my point. Yeah, like I was like, I want to try this because I was writing like little scenes for characters that I was animating, but I was like, I want to try this, and that was like my first time actually trying to write something serious. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I didn't start writing until the Eyes of Dora Maar. Like seriously, the Eyes of Dora Maar. Yeah, that was the first one. I was like, I'm really gonna take this serious. I'm doing my research, and I'm gonna write this.
Yeah, the eyes of Dora. I'm
Dora
sorry,
Maar. Yeah, yeah.
Dora Maar. I know. And every time I saw that, I'm not sure if you saw that movie. When I saw Dora Maar, I kept on thinking Laura Mars. The Eyes of Laura Mars. There's a movie called The Eyes of Laura Mars,
Oh,
and I'm
really?
wondering.
Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering if Dora Maar was a play off of that movie.
Do you know
I
what
was
that movie
wondering,
is about, by any
huh?
chance? What is that movie about?
It's about it stars Faye Dunaway and Tommy Lee Jones, and she plays a designer, and
Hmm.
she can psychically see what's going to happen in the future, and her friends
Okay.
are getting it's sort of like a psychic giallo film, and she's able to see her friends getting killed before that happens, and Tommy Lee Jones plays the cop trying to protect her, and it's an interesting movie. It came out in 1979.
Oh, damn! I should have saw this then. Um, I'm gonna have to watch it now. Interesting. All right.
See, our friend Bobby, our journalist, our movie journalist. Do you want to keep writing, um, or is acting more of your cinematic passion?
What's up, Bobby?
Yeah, that's a good question because you have skills in both. I mean, to be able to have a screenplay, like okay, it did it now your screenplay it placed right. It got honorable mention. You turned it in. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
it
pretty
won.
damn good.
Yeah, at the New York International Film Awards, it won best first time screenwriter or screenplay. I'm sorry. Um, and then it got nominated. It didn't get placed at the Big Apple Film Festival. It got nominated. It's still in the film festivals right now. I think the next one is one in Paris. I forget what it's called exactly, but it's in Paris. It's in France. That's
So you're being
December.
recognized not only for your acting, because you've won a Best Actor award, you won it for Starcrossed, but now
Mhm.
your screenplays are starting to get noticed as well. Believe me, I mean, you go ahead and
Trying,
write
brother.
a screenplay like that, and people are they're gonna they see that. and then that's the one we want to keep an eye on.
Yes,
So
sir.
you're on the
So,
radar both as an actor and as a screenwriter. That's gonna be really
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. To be honest, and to answer Bobby's question, definitely acting is my passion. It's always been my passion. Acting is number one to me. It's just I love it. So yeah. Hope that answers your question.
Let's see. Film director Chadwick Whitmer, he comes in with, what is your process with writing? Uh, do you think, then write write, or do you just sit down and begin a certain way? So yeah, how do you prepare to write versus how you prepare to act?
How do you prepare to write versus how you, writing is always random. So for me, it's I was actually talking about to Pat Bradley about this the other day. He was like, "You got the character breakdowns because he's shooting helping me shoot a film um that I wrote. It's a short film. It's not the Eyes of Dora Maar. It's called You Filthy Animal." And he was like, "Well, you got the character breakdowns?" I was like, "Oh no, I just started writing. I had a scene and I had a character in mind, but I didn't have any, the synopsis or anything planned out. So for that one, I just had an idea. I wrote a scene, and it just built from that. Like I built scenes after that, and I built scenes before that, and I started developing the characters that way, and adding more characters. So I guess it's always different. You know what I mean? It's not one set way. Uh, just and that's what's awesome and creative about it, right? You can kind of play with tons of different ways to write a film. As far as
You
acting,
okay?
when you approach acting and you didn't write it, you approach it as you're more focused on one individual character that you're playing, and you learn about him or her, and you research that character, and then you can build around that character of the information that's given to you in the script. You can build a backstory and all their little traits and everything, and their ticks and stuff. And then after that, you kind of like see how other characters in the script affect your character, and then you can build relationships that way and start thinking about it. But yeah, that's how I approach both.
Do you think that's why a lot of do you feel that's the reason why a lot of actors, like, you hear this a lot, you hear them say, like, not only do they know their part, but they know everybody else's part too. Is that one of the reasons why, that way you can understand everybody else's character? Like, like, okay, you get your character down, but what about the devious maid? What motivates her? What makes her driven? What's behind her character? I mean, I think
Yeah,
it would be important to know, as an actor, to know what other supporting actors, what's behind their motivation as well. I think it would
absolutely.
help you prepare your character and make it more easier, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
Especially if you're in the scenes with those characters, 100%. You have to know their lines because you have to embed these lines into your psyche so deep that you do not think about the lines themselves, and you don't think about, oh, I didn't memorize this. You have to know it so well and the other characters' lines so well that you just, like Meisner says, you just react. You live truthfully and under the imaginary circumstances, right? You don't you don't you don't have to remember your lines. It just comes out because you're reacting to your scene partners, whoever they are in the script.
Uh, uh, yeah, that is interesting. That's interesting.
Mhm.
Now I can understand it a little bit more. I can understand that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard that many times. Like, I know, they know their part. They know everybody else's part as well. Now I understand the reason why that is for some actors. Now I know everybody's preparation isn't always the same. I mean, there's some actors that probably they don't know anybody else. They don't know the characters' lines, or they're just busy on their own character and their
Yeah.
own.
And
But
you'll and sometimes you'll notice that too. If they don't know the scene partner's lines, if they don't know, it's not like you're waiting for the line. It's just that you know the flow of the scene. Um,
I,
you
it's a
know,
sort of
you're Go ahead, sorry.
if the scene's sort of stilted, like, it's like you said, it's not organic. It's sort of like, it's I guess it just doesn't flow well, right? So,
Yeah,
that means they're still waiting for, like,
yeah.
yeah. Is there keys? and during a scene, when the director walks you through a scene, is he telling you what to look for as far as other characters? Like you're doing your lines, you're doing your part. What do you look for in a screen partner to trigger their acting against you? How
I don't.
do they do it like a trigger that you know when to come back to response with your part?
No, no, you don't want to know anything. You don't. You want to know their lines, but you don't want to know them so well where you're waiting for them to say it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
What Because then you're projecting and you're like it just seems fake. So you want to, and it's even better sometimes when they if a director comes up to, and Pat Bradley's done this before too, on set, and that's why he's such a freaking great director. It's because he'll come up, like for example, Pat Bradley came up to me when I was in the scene on Starcross with Ashley Weissmantle, who's a great actress, and I was supposed to give her a gift, and she didn't want it. She wants it, but she doesn't want it. And so he came up to my ear. He said, "Don't give it to her," even though in the script it says he gives her a gift. He's like, "Don't give it to her." So it created kind of like a little bit of tension and a little bit of fight, where she was like, she didn't realize that was coming. So there's a little bit of improvisation, and you need that a little bit. You need to stay interesting, and you need there to be some surprises. But
Now, did she end up trying to? You had the president in your hand. Did she try to reach out and grab it
yeah,
from you?
yeah.
Oh
And
my gosh, really?
I was like,
Did she?
and you
Did
could
she
tell
think that?
it was a very genuine moment because she wasn't expecting that. She was like, "Oh, I want it. No,
Oh,
don't give me that." So
right, right. So she
yeah,
was expecting that you would let go of the gift, and you didn't.
yeah.
Oh my gosh! So the reaction that she had on her face would have been like
It's
it would have
authentic.
been born a
Authentic.
surprise.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. That's
So
fun.
yeah, I noticed really great directors do that. Though usually they'll let the actor go first because the actor already has something in their mind, right? We already know, we already see the character one way. Okay, so we'll perform the scene the first time. The good directors will let you just do your thing, and then after they see your scene, if they want to tweak it, then they'll come over and tell you, give you some pointers, and then you'll do it a different way or just add something that they wanted. So I noticed that about really good directors. They kind of let you do your thing first, but then they'll
Mhm.
come in and then they'll start collaborating with you on the character.
Right. They give you room to breathe and to improvise and whatnot.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, because
as
we're
long
because
as
we're
long as
artists,
you're not
right?
doing, I
Yeah.
guess as long as you're not doing the Vince Vaughn thing. Um, oh, thank you so much, Chadwick. We'll talk to you soon. And in case I don't see you again, but good luck this weekend. He's got his first feature film debuting this Saturday and
Awesome.
in Atlanta.
Well, good luck
Um,
to you.
yeah, that's exciting. It's exciting to see. Wow, that's so much fun. And so what was her reaction? Ashley's what was her reaction once Pat said cut? Did she go up there to you and say what was that about? Or
No,
did she just
no,
she just
she's she knows what she's doing, man. It's not like she was expecting that, but I can assume, she didn't say anything to me about after the scene, but I can only assume that she's like, oh, okay, it's probably what Pat went over and whispered in his ear after the scene was done. You know what I mean?
okay. Right,
So,
right.
yeah, yeah. But she didn't say anything. She was just having fun like I was, and we're just we're just giving it all we got, giving the scene all we
Do
got.
do you like to improvise? I mean, I know some actors do improvise,
It's
but I
fun.
think sometimes they improvise to throw something different at the script, throw different something, different lines out there. Just it almost feels like going to a clothes store and taking a bunch of clothes inside of a dressing room, right? So you're dressing up different clothes and seeing how they fit and how you like them and whatnot.
Yeah.
Is that how it is with improv? Like maybe you're just trying something else new and different. But do you
Yeah.
like to improv? Is improv fun to do, or
Oh God, yeah.
is it just a
Yeah.
tool?
Yeah. I mean, I learned this from some of my acting coaches, Josh Nelson, who's a really good acting coach, and even like Gary Kingston. The thing I learned from Josh is like improvisation is such a good tool to loosen up the acting muscles, right? Because you don't know what's coming, but you have to perform. So, and like for example, in Josh's acting classes, sometimes it'd be a scene class, and he would just come in and say, okay, here, you this, you're one, you're two, you're one, you're two, you're one, you're two, and he'd be like, all right, go ahead, go up there and do, and it would be just whatever subject, and he would say, okay, perform, and then we have to make something up like that. You know what I mean? It's good muscle. It's a good muscle to work. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But the Meisner technique, now the repetition, is a bit like improvisation, the repetition technique exercise, because you're repeating just words. They're just words. They're not lines. You're just repeating words. You have a hat on. I have a hat on. You have a hat on. And you keep saying that until the tone changes of the scene, and it's almost like improving a little bit. So it's just a muscle. It's a muscle you develop, an emotional muscle. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Right. Right. No, I get it. I get it.
Okay.
So when you were in college, when you went to college for, I mean, I guess, that was your first, that was taking the next step. What was like the first day of college, like your first time that you went inside an acting class at college? What was it like for you? Were you nervous? Were you anxious? Were you excited? All the above? Were you terrified?
You're talking about the neighborhood playhouse, like the acting
Yeah.
school?
Yeah. Yes.
I was nervous. I definitely admit I was nervous, but it was like an excited nervous. I was like, oh, this is gonna be. I want to learn so much here. Do you know what I mean? It was really my passion. After I graduated from the art institute, I wanted to be an actor. That's what I wanted to be the whole time. And yeah, it was definitely nervous, but I met some really great people there. People I'm still friends with today. And yeah, I mean, it was such an amazing learning experience.
Um, I want to go back to your art real quick because I want to get your opinion about this. So you're an artist. You're a graphic artist. You work with computers and whatnot. Now, did you work? Do you do work on CGI?
Yeah, that's what I'm an art director at MLB for visual effects, 3D, and motion graphics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the AI situation. What's
Um,
what's your opinion about that? As he
well,
folds his arms.
well, like, like everything, right? Like everything, anything you could think of, there's pros and cons. I mean, right? I
Okay,
mean,
I want to hear
anything.
what are some of the pros?
The pros are it makes your job a lot easier, right? So you don't have to. Um, Here's the pros: you don't have to hire a style frame designer for concepts for a commercial or for an animation per se. When you can use Midjourney to generate ideas, yourself. You can just type in some words and boom, 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 it creates style frames for you. You can adjust them on the fly and everything. So that's like a pro. Now the con is that style frame artist is out of a job because you didn't hire him because you use Midjourney, right?
Right.
So there's pros and cons with everything.
Um, about the part about them about the studios wanting to be able to use actors, to use them, their likeness, after they're gone or they retire or
Right.
whatnot. I mean, the thought of someone actually going up there and saying, "Yeah, we could put Clark Gable in a new movie today. We'll just use AI to do it." That just seems really weird to me.
Very weird. Very. I read somewhere they try to do it with Robin Williams or something like that, and his
Did they really? I didn't hear that, but I mean,
daughter was like it.
wouldn't it be weird?
But that's one of the main reasons that the actors are striking. Like the SAG is striking.
So there's no pros when it comes down. I mean, there's no pro to that when it comes down to working actors. I mean, maybe on the technical
Not for
side.
the actor. Yes.
I mean, on the technical side, I mean, can AI be used to assist writers, or is the fear that
Oh, yeah.
writers might become a little bit too dependent on it? Like now, like a lot of writers, they use, like it's you see it all the time here on social media. They have AI channels here on YouTube, on
Yeah.
Instagram, and they have voices that are AI. You can it shocks me,
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it
I
shocks
know what
me
you're
to
talking about.
see. Yeah, it shocks me to see that there's AI channels here on YouTube, and there's AI channels on Instagram and people don't seem to realize it. They just hear this. They hear these AI voices. They don't understand that's what they're listening to. They think it's a
Yeah,
real person, and it's
I know
not.
it's pretty. It's mind blowing, man. It's mind blowing. Who the hell knows where that's going to take us, right? I have
Mm.
no clue, but it's yeah,
Um,
that's crazy.
yeah. Pat is here saying no AI for writers. Yeah, I would think that'd be dangerous. I mean, okay, I'm not gonna, I'm just using AI as a tool. But what happens when you become too dependent on that tool for your
Exactly.
ideas?
Yeah.
Then you're no longer a writer. You're not really writing anymore. Now you're just, I don't know. I mean, what are you? I mean, you're not really creating anything. I mean,
Yeah.
if you if you get dependent on that. Um, let's see. Snow is here. Hi, Snow. Uh, we don't have AI yet. It's all electronic uh, exploitation, and it's 100% plagiarism. Yeah, that's how I feel about AI. I mean, that's how I feel. I mean, I just don't really feel like I don't really feel if you use AI, you're creating. I feel like you're cheating. That's how I feel.
Well, that's that's where the pros and the cons come in. It's like a cheat code, but it's ethically, it's like frowned upon, right?
I mean, but for you, but then again, but then again, when you use your AI for your job, it works, it fits, it's fine.
Yeah. But
But
even that's kind of like you used AI. Like, can't you just draw it yourself? Like, you're so late. Yeah, it's like a lazy kind of thing, frowned upon. But I mean, it generates such amazing art though. So it's kind of hard to not play with it and like it. you know?
yeah, but I mean, you could definitely tell when someone's doing digital art. I mean, there's some that out there. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's not just like them just punching four buttons and it turns out that
Yeah.
way. They're sitting there working on the coloring and the schemes and everything else. They're still, in a sense,
Right.
drawing per se, and it comes out looking awesome. But I'm so used to seeing people draw with their hands. You know,
Yeah.
that's
I
what
hear
I think. I just don't. When someone says I did it digitally, it's like,
Yeah, a bunch of cheaters, man.
yeah. Uh, so what was your first live theater stage experience like? And
My
how old were
first.
you when yeah, how old were you when you first acted on live theater?
I mean, we're going back like to second grade. I mean, but if you're talking about, I mean, I did plays like when I was in like elementary
Okay,
school. But when
let's
you're
go up
talking about,
let's
let's
go
say,
up to college. We'll go up to college. What was it like the first? Because I mean that is
okay,
different from high school because high school is high school, but now you're
yeah,
at
yeah.
college. Now you're in college. Your first day you're nervous. Now the first time you have to act in front of your peers.
Well, you're
What
not
was
allowed
that
to.
like for you?
No, we're not allowed to act. They teach you how not to act.
How do
Let
you do
that
that?
make sense.
How do they
Um,
teach you not to act?
by not acting. So well, I remember our first class, right? Let's just for an example, we walked in and Gary Kingston goes around the class and he says, define acting. And he goes around, everyone says something different, and he comes to me, I say, it's lying. You're basically lying. And he's like, no. Next. He just goes around answering, and then he says, he says, living truth. I'm going to say this again, living truthfully under imaginary circumstances, right? Acting, you're taught in acting school how to not act. You want to live truthfully. It's the opposite of acting. You do not want to act. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because when
Okay.
you act, you have to. I guess there's effort behind it. Like I gotta act like a tough guy, but you're not. You're not really necessarily a
But
tough guy. But
yeah,
you gotta act it. But you project what you feel is what a tough guy does, and it's not
yeah,
really. Maybe that's not how he really is.
yeah.
So it's just
Well,
your idea of what it is.
yeah. You trust the text. You trust the words. You trust the script. You trust your scene partner. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
It's yeah, man. That's the only way I can explain. You're taught not how not to act. But
Yeah.
back to my first experience, just real quick. as far as a performance, like a real performance, it was at the end of the first year of Neighborhood Playhouse. It was a scene with actress named Laura Sessoms, and it was like a romantic scene between teenagers or whatever. So that was my first experience. It was on stage in front of the whole school, in front of the whole Neighborhood Playhouse.
Why do I have a feeling, Jeff? Why do I have a feeling you remember everybody you've ever acted against? You remember all your scene partners. Why do I
Maybe,
feel like you do, don't you?
maybe. There might be a couple in there I forgot on purpose, but
Oh, yeah, of course.
no, maybe, yeah, maybe you might be right. I got pretty good memory. I got pretty good memory. It's not
Yeah,
bad.
I'm seeing that.
Yeah.
Let's see, go back. I'll go back over here to the chat real quick. See, Melanie has a question for you. She says, "How do you feel about casting your own projects? Will you favor actors who will realize your vision or who will play off you?"
How do you cast my own projects? This is my first time. Thank you, Melanie, for your question. This is my first project. You filthy animal. It's my first project that Pat's going to help me shoot. It's my first project that I'm casting, so this is my first experience ever casting an ensemble cast, and
How many speaking roles do you have?
seven
It's a lot
speaking
of
roles.
casting. It's a lot of
Yeah,
casting.
three are major roles, like more major roles, and then the rest are supporting. But to be honest with you, when I look at the self tape, I've only received about 4 or 5 self tapes so far. But when I look at self tape, I just look for truthfulness. I just look for I'm losing the word here, but if it feels real to me and it's not forced, then I'll definitely consider it for sure. The first thing I look at is acting. Is can they play this person and bring it through as a real character, like a real person. And I mean that's what everybody wants when they're casting, obviously, but that's kind of how I'm approaching it. And some of them aren't that good at it, but yeah, that's what I look for.
How does that work when like to me I'm thinking when you said you got 4 or 5 self auditions. Now everybody knows that self taping allows the actor to work on their audition to make it perfect. My question is, isn't it a little bit better to when you see an actor and you do see them stumble a little bit to see how they recover, to see how maybe they didn't come out and hit it right off the bat the first time, but they'll sit there and say, "Can I get another take?" And you say, "Yeah, that's cool." And you come back and you let them recover and then come at it again. And then maybe the second time they come out, how they handle the stress of that. Isn't it better for that? Because I've always thought that people when they say, well, I shot my self tape. I spent 3 hours on it and I did 25 takes. And I'm just thinking to myself, going like, you made it so damn perfect that when you submit it, that's what they're going to expect from you the day that you walk on set. They're going to expect to see that
Mhm.
perfection.
Well, that
And
makes sense.
isn't it to me? But isn't it better just to
I
have
don't know.
some bumps and bruises though?
I don't know if they expect perfect. I mean, art and perfection do not go together. To be honest with you,
No.
those two words don't really go together. So I mean, yeah, there's going to be bumps in the road, and there's going to be when they're performing, they're going to want to try different things, and that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
Um,
I just feel like
yeah.
self tape. That's probably a weakness of it about doing self auditions like that or self taping is that they try to be so fine with it. It's like, oops, I made a mistake, so I'm going to go ahead and redo it. Maybe not
Hmm.
do that. I mean, unless it's like a major, like forgot the line or whatnot. But
Yeah.
but maybe not be such a hurry to not show a vulnerability like I made a mistake, but watch me recover
Yeah.
within.
I think that's more the second. I think that's more like the second phase of casting. Like I mean, the self tapes are so helpful. To be honest with you, because it gets it's an easy way to get rid of the candidates who aren't
Yeah.
ready for that part. I feel like the second stage of casting, where you actually talk to the person and you want them to like perform it for you, then that's where it's okay, I think. But you need to get past that first stage, I think. Do you know what I mean? That's how I feel about it anyway.
Now, how are you? Are you? Because you've had auditions where you've been on auditions where you haven't gotten the part.
Absolutely.
How did you find out that you didn't get a part because they didn't call you back, or
Hell
did you?
yeah. They ghost you, man. They just ghost you.
Now what?
Yeah.
Now what do you do when you're a part when your actors that are auditioning for you? How do you handle it?
When I'm casting for this film,
Do you call
yeah.
them up? Did you call them up and say they didn't get the part?
No. No, that's how it's done. Yeah, because I mean, you can't call 200 people and say sorry, you didn't get it. You know, it's just that'll take forever, man. Um,
Mm.
I think uh, I think that's just how it's done. I think just how it's done. It's part of. I mean, it sounds kind of
That's
short
broken.
and
Yeah,
it,
that's
it
broken.
could, yeah, it can sound a little brutal and short, but I mean, that's art, dude. Like if you don't have thick skin, you can't take a you know not getting picked and not getting called back. Then probably shouldn't be doing this. I mean, you're gonna get shut down more than you get accepted. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I you
So
know, I think that part of it's broken. I think that part of the system's broken. I mean, there's gotta be, like, when you fill out and when you fill in an we fill it out or
yeah.
you, send in your tape or whatever, there's gotta be a better way of letting people know,
Well,
you
I
know?
I can tell you this. So I'm an art director, right? I manage other artists, and when people submit their resumes to be a freelance designer or a freelance 3D guy or girl, some of them you look at the resume and you don't tell them that you don't like their resume. You just don't. You just put it to the side and you go to the next one. You don't call every single person and say, "Oh, sorry, we didn't pick you because your 3D sucks," or you know what I mean? Like it's better. Sometimes it's better just to cut the string and don't say anything, and they'll get the point. I actually prefer that. I don't want someone to call me and say, "Yeah, you didn't get it because you didn't do this and this and this." I mean, I understand that people have lives, and you can't do that to 300 people and these big Hollywood productions. I mean, there's like thousands of people who audition, so you can't do that. You just can't do
That's the same it's the same it seems really it's just, let's see, okay, let's see. We'll go back up to snow. I don't know when I looked at AI. When I look at AI art, it's pretty from far away. But the closer you look at it, the more you come in to hate it because it's just weird and it's just a little bit like a mosaic of digital media. Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, it's still. I mean, I remember Joshua Adams. I mean, I looked at his art. His art is all digital, but man, oh
it.
man, it is spectacular. It is spectacular. And I do, and to me, it's like like how long did it take for him to actually do that? I don't think it's so simple that you just sit down there, punch in a few, hit the keyboards for 10 minutes and come up with that. You still got to work on it, to do the colors and shading, but it does still feel artificial. It does feel. It does. I'm more someone who's got the paintbrush or the pencil in their hand. But then again, I'm an old guy, so uh, let's see. Kubrick would
You're not
push
that old,
actors
Pat.
Kubrick would push actors to repeat everything until they're no longer acted, but embodied, no longer remember themselves, become a puppet. Yeah, well, I have my opinions about Kubrick. I'm not a big fan. I mean, I'm just not. Uh, let's see. Uh, not saying anything is usually more respectful. Artists get very defensive about their work, even auditions. Um,
Very true.
I would think that you would think that they would. I guess maybe like maybe the first or second round I could get maybe like you said if it was 200 people, yeah, that would be a pain in the ass. But if it came down like to the final five or six people that
Mhm.
you're going to be auditioning, and that's it. Uh, uh, then maybe then. you go ahead and sit there and say, "Thank you for showing up."
Yeah, yeah.
We appreciate your
And
effort. You made the final cut. I mean, to
I
me,
think that does happen, Patrick. I think that does happen. When it gets down that far, I think that there's more courtesy because they made it that far. I definitely think that happens.
okay, good, because
Yeah,
that would just be broken to me to not say
yeah.
anything to anybody.
Hey,
Um,
man, art is tough. It's a tough business. It really is. Whether you're
so one
acting or a designer, it doesn't matter. Art is tough.
oops, I froze on my side here. Let me real quick. Let me pump that. This is interesting. This is quite an education here.
I'm getting educated too. I love it.
Uh, oops. Hey, I'm sideways. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. Yeah, it's a little, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Starcroft since we have the director and the writer in the room with us. So tell me how you got that part. How did you hear about it? And how did you audition for it? Do you have to have you were you handpicked for it? How
No,
did that happen?
no, I auditioned. I believe I forget through what I don't know if it was Actors Access. Pat can weigh in on that or backstage, but I'm pretty sure I auditioned for that one. Yeah, and I got it. Yeah.
How many times did you have to audition?
Uh, once maybe. I think once.
Did you do it in person or on a self tape?
No, it was self tape.
Now, how many times did you do your audition? How many times did it take for you to do it on tape before
Very
you?
good question. That's a good one. Uh, I want to say 7 or 8 times. I want to say it took me 7 or 8 times to like get it. Yeah.
Now, how do you know when that's the right one that you want to send in? Do you take that and do you turn around to a fellow working actor and do you sit there and say, "What do you think?" Or do you just do that on your own and trust your own instinct that if you've done well?
It depends. Sometimes I won't do more than 10 takes because after that it just gets a little crazy. You don't do more than 10 takes. Because then you're just gonna overthink it and it's gonna be bad. So I make sure that I prepare. Everything is in the preparation. I make sure I prepare first. I make sure I know the lines. I know the tone of the scene. I know what's going on, and I know what my scene partner wants and what I want in the scene. That's everything's in preparation, and then I go and ask someone if they can read from me, right? Another actor that I know, um, and then we go on Zoom and they read the scene for me as I'm recording, and yeah, I do. Like I said, I do no more than 10 takes, and then I'll pick one from those 10 if I get to 10.
Now, is that 10 takes per day or 10 takes period?
10 takes per on self tape.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So in other words, you wouldn't if Stanley Kubrick said, let's try it again for the 13th time, you probably go over there and punch him in the nose.
No.
Um, oh,
Never. No, I would never do that.
well,
Um,
tag me, and I do it for you. Um, yeah,
no, no.
yeah. Let's
Wouldn't do
see.
that.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I thought I was I'm going back to Pat's comment here about not saying anything is usually more respectful. Artist gets very defensive with the work, even auditions. I was just thinking about that because I know that sometimes where someone will do a script, they'll do a script and they'll pass it or they'll pass it, and then they'll pass it to producers and they'll take a run at it, and then they put notes on the side of it. They'll leave notes, for the director. You know, to me, I was just thinking sort of the same thing with a saying this is my idea, what you should do, or or this is my opinion or whatnot. And to me, I always thought when you told somebody, like the same thing when you told them like they didn't get the part, you would give notes like maybe try this next time, or
Yeah.
if
Well,
you notice you moved your feet too much during the audition, you twitched too much or something. I thought that casting directors would tell that to an artist.
that's not their job. That's not their job. I
Yeah.
tell you one thing. It's good to get one of your acting coaches. You should always have an acting coach, by the way. You should always be training, but you should have your acting coach look at it first, or actually do the self tape with your acting coach on the Zoom call as well, because they'll know how to coach you to do it right, and they'll give you the best pointers. But that's not a casting director's job to give you acting tips. Do you know what I mean?
Did your acting teacher help you with Starcross? Did you give it to him and let him say, what did you think?
Nope.
No, no,
Nope.
you felt confident. Okay.
Yeah, I felt pretty confident about that character. Yeah.
All right. Bobby has another question for you. Says, in your experience, what's tougher, acting or art director?
Hmm. Oh man. I would say, oh man, that's a hard question, dude. Bobby coming with the heat. Uh,
Yeah,
because
but think about it, if you get, because you're in New York, right? You're based in New York, aren't you?
yeah, I'm a New York local. I'm in New Jersey though. Yeah.
Okay, but I
Um,
mean, but if Major League Baseball gives you Yankee tickets, I mean, that's cool as hell, right?
Yankees and Mets. Yeah, sometimes Philly. Um, yeah, you know what? With art directing, everyone has a boss, right? Everyone has a master. Everyone has a director. I have my own director. Um, so you're always gonna get feedback and changes and stuff like that. I feel like with art directing, it might be a little more difficult because you have less room for creativity. You have less room to try a bunch of different stuff. I feel like there's such a strict thing sometimes, and you have the boss on top you telling you exactly what to do, or I don't like that. Do it. Whereas acting, you have a script, you know what you need to do, and you can play with it a little bit. So I would say art directing is probably more difficult to do. Acting is hard too, man. That's a very hard question, Bobby. That's a good one. Yeah.
Um, let's see. Let's see. Pat mentions that Starcross was still during the COVID, so self tape, so no in person. Snow mentions you must be mad how he treated Shelley Duvall. Yeah, yeah, I am. I think that's absolutely disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Horrible. He destroyed that woman. That just sucks. Um, and I'm glad that people recognize it now. It still burns my ass when I see people still kissing ass to The Shining, because I don't like The Shining. I just didn't like it. But then I really didn't like what he did to her. I mean, he just destroyed her. Sucks. Let's see. Pat says, for example, I just had 400 self tapes, 30 in person for one role for 430 people. Yeah, but that's because
Yeah.
you're Pat Bradley. Everybody wants to be in your project. That's why. Hell, I'm not an actor, but I'm tempted to send in a tape. Um, I will be sending out an email to
Hey,
the
man.
29 who didn't get it tomorrow and offer feedback to those who asked. But even 30 is rough. See, look at that's what I'm saying right there. That's what I'm saying. See, I love that, Pat. I think that's professional. I think that's just the right. That's just the. I know the other ones won't get it. I get that. Um, but I still think that the fact that you the 30, and that's a lot. That's a lot of people to go up there and say, "Hey." But I think that's really cool. I respect that. I respect that tremendously. But the other one won't get a response, unfortunately. And I like that too. I like that he says unfortunately, because I know in his heart he would like to say that. I get that.
Yeah,
But there are some people
we
that
know that.
don't. Yeah. And Snow's mentioning, yeah, yeah, we saw what happened to her. Just absolutely, yeah, uh, yeah. I have no idea. Have you ever experienced that on set? And I'm gonna throw I'm gonna throw that question out to Pat too at the same time, and Melanie, she's still here. Uh, have you ever had a bump in with a director or an animosity type situation on set where it's just been they just didn't get along. You were there for the job, but for some reason they were really nasty to you. And if so, how did you deal with it?
If you're asking me, I have not run into that yet. I've been very lucky to work with all professional directors, art directors, producers. So I'm very lucky in that aspect. And I'll tell you what, if I can get nasty too, man. If they want to get nasty, I get nasty right back. But
Don't mess with Joyce.
I'd rather not. I'd rather not, to be honest. I'd rather not.
Don't let me bring the Joycey out on you now. Don't be fooled by my nice guy looks, because I'm still a Joycey boy.
Hey man, I prefer everyone be positive and have a
Has
great
that,
time.
have you ever seen that with anybody else? Have you ever seen, like, confrontations or interactions, negative interactions? I mean,
Oh
if that's
yeah,
something you've seen on set, how does things like that actually happen on set? Like, you hear about that creative differences, but how does that
that's it.
really happen?
Yeah, well, I can speak from being on green screen sets with Major League Baseball players and more than one chef in the kitchen, trying to direct them on how to act. Um, and people argue about the stupidest things. To be honest with you, they argue about lighting. It's ridiculous. And that starts at the top. Everyone has their job and their responsibility, and you shouldn't um, go over top of them or express your opinions if that's not your job. Everyone has a is a piece to the puzzle. Do you know what I mean? And usually
Right.
those differences come when you're butting your nose into something you shouldn't be. So
And that happens yeah.
yeah,
I can imagine having 6 people there telling, telling, Aaron Judge how to, cock his bat. It's like,
yeah,
really?
yeah. I shot Aaron Judge for the Field of Dreams series, and luckily there was no problems at all. He was the nicest guy, and the producer on set was awesome. So it was cool.
Of course, he's a Yankee. You're gonna get you're dealing with class. Let's see. Just don't mention that AAA team over there in City Field. All right. You're not a Mets fan, are you?
No, Phillies.
Oh,
Yeah,
Phillies.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm from South Jersey originally, man. Phillies all the way. Phillies and Eagles.
Oh my God. This is terrible.
Come on,
What,
Pat.
what's the acting sign for okay, that's my only big.
I'm not
Are
denying
you
that.
a big sports fan? Is that a big part of your life?
Uh, I
I
would
mean,
say,
outside of work, do you find yourself uh,
yeah,
going
yeah.
to different games and whatnot?
Not particularly baseball, but I'm a big football and MMA fan. So
Okay,
those two, I
okay.
love those two. Yeah, those two sports.
Let's see. Snow mentions that she's an artist in a lot of ways. I like to feel I can at least do a decent job of most creative things, but whatever it doesn't it, what let's see. But whatever it doesn't matter. I think there's a word missing there. Pat mentions, well, they took the time to come and audition in person. It's the least I could do. Man, you guys, you're see, I can understand why you won a Best Actor award for Starcrossed. I can get that. I get that. I can see that. Um,
Appreciate it,
what's
brother.
it like? What's it like working with a director that just gets you? Like your relationship with Pat. What's it like, be able to trust a director to know you and your craft enough to direct you to win an award like that?
Makes it easy. Makes it easy. That's all I can say, man. I mean, it's just a breath of fresh air because there's uh, so many bad directors out there and people who don't know what they're doing, and then there's people who don't know what they're doing but pretend they do. And
Those are the worst.
um, yeah, Pat's not that second part. He knows what he's doing, and he's a great director. Like I mentioned that one situation on set of Starcross, right, with the gift box. I mean, not every director does that. They don't let you play. So yeah, it's easy.
What was it like when you found out that you won an award for Best Actor? I mean, you're relatively young in your career, and you did this Star-Crossed, and next thing you know, you're being awarded a Best Actor award. What was it like when you heard? What was your
Well,
reaction?
I mean, it's always a good feeling um, to get noticed for something like that, especially when you work so hard and you're learning your lines and you're spending so much time um, preparing for that character. But To be honest with you, I have the type of mindset where I want, I do know I'm going to win more, and that's not an ego. That's not, being a jerk.
No,
I'm that confident that, like, I'm that dedicated to acting. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm that dedicated to my craft that I know if I prepare hard enough and if I do a great job, that I'm going to win more. So that's how I look at it.
let's see. Let's see. See, 90%. Let's see. Oh, as far as yeah, as far as bumps in a 90% of the films, there's always something like a bumps and bruises. I can understand that. I mean, not every single shoot is going to be 100% smooth, but I've always wondered, like, how do you overcome, like, if there's creative differences between cast members, like, you get cast. I know they do chemistry readings and whatnot, but
Mhm.
sometimes that can be matched. Sometimes, oh, they seem to get along really well, but then when you get on set, maybe that's not quite so. Maybe that's not quite the story. Maybe they acted. The acting was really good. That there was some chemistry there, but once you get on set, next thing you know, you start having a little bit of friction. Between scene partners. And I always wondered, how does that get dealt with? Like, is it just a matter of technique, or is it a personality trait? And how do you fix it?
Depends on the situation, but you just work through it. I mean, like I said before, everyone's a piece of the puzzle, right? You have to know your place. If the director says he wants something and that's his story and he wrote it or whatever, then that's what you do. And you can bring up things that you might like or want to do with the character, but if that's not his vision, if he's a good director, he'll be like, yeah, let's try it, right? But
Right.
if it comes down to, that's not what I thought about this character, and then a good actor, a professional in the field would say, okay, I understand. I
Sure.
appreciate I appreciate you listening to my perspective, and I totally get what you're saying. You just
Yeah.
you just go with it because everyone has their place, man, and that's how the wheel stays greasy wheel, and it goes smoothly and flows better. So
Definitely.
yeah,
This is really good. I'm really appreciating this talk. This is interesting.
I
Uh,
appreciate you,
what
man. Thank you.
what's been your favorite role that you've done so far? Now, you've done roles that you've won awards for, but has that have been your favorite roles, or most
Uh,
challenging?
I don't know if I have a favorite role. I would say, I guess the most fun role so far was probably Method Man, because and that's something Pat wrote and directed too. It's a short that's being finished up next week, I believe. Um, yeah, I think I had the most fun with that. I play an actor playing an actor who goes too far method. Um,
So you're doing Jared Leto then, right?
Maybe. Yeah, he goes too far method and things get a little dangerous and violent. But I think I had the most fun with that one
Uh-huh.
so far. Yeah, I have fun on.
Let me,
I
let me,
look at everything
I'm gonna
positive.
ask this. I'm gonna have to ask this out there too, because there's like Bobby's out there, and Pat and Melanie. But who's the most method actor and that's out there working today? Who's the one? I mean, the one that we know about Jared Leto. I know Ben Foster's a tremendously. He's really into method. Um, who's the most methody actor? Who's the most methody actor you've worked with?
I've worked with.
Yeah.
Haven't met one yet, man. But I would say my favorite actor. Well, the one I think who uses method the most, and he is my favorite actor. He's my top of my list. Number one is Christian Bale. I think he's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah, he
Um,
really is.
he really throws himself into every single role, and that's something to aspire to for sure. He's definitely my favorite actor. And I think he's he goes full method for sure.
Yeah, he's an amazing artist. He's awesome. I can respect that. Let's see. And Pat, he just says something about the Phillies. That's oh
Yeah,
boy.
rolling his eyes,
Uh, I,
rolling his eyes to the Phillies.
oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. I can see it now.
It's
The
all
next
love.
set, the next set's going to be really interesting. I hope someone films it. Um, that's a dictator versus director conversation. Yeah. Let's see. Snow mentions that she was saying that Chris Evans, that he's the most method actor that she's ever seen. Um, yeah, he's really good too. I, you know,
Yeah, great.
I gotta be, you know, it's funny. You think that I wonder how many actors get in this situation where you get a chance to do a role, like a big role, like something like a Batman or a Marvel movie, right? Like Chris Evans, right? Like he's played Captain America now for what, 8 or 9, 10 years. And that's what he's known for. I just wonder, when he was doing this, how badly he chafed at just being so confined, and that's one of the things he said. I read that he's just like he wants to get away from that. He's like, I want to just go out there and be able to act
Yeah.
in another project without worrying about, that's all I'm identified as.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
can totally see that. Yeah, and
yeah,
I don't. Yeah, I don't even consider Christian Bale's Batman when I put him in my my number one spot. He's done way better work in his Rolodex there. I mean, is on his track record, he just has way better movies, like The Machinist and
I was thinking
The
about that.
Fighter. I mean, there's so many better ones than Batman.
I think Tom Hardy is Methodist too, and I
Okay.
do believe he is Method, and he's another phenomenal actor. He's in my top 10. He's a tremendous actor.
Great
Um,
man.
Daniel Day-Lewis, Jared Leto, Christian Bale. Pat mentions that. Yeah, I think a lot of people thought that Daniel Day-Lewis would come back by now, but I think he's retired for good.
Sure,
Yeah.
man.
So what's next for you? What do you got going on? You said we were wrapping up a film next week. Um,
Yeah, I've got a lot going on.
yeah, let's talk a little
Yeah.
bit what's going on with you.
No, I appreciate you asking. So there's a feature film that I'm in called Dating Horror Stories, um, and that's kind of like a horror independent horror feature. Uh, so that and I'm reading for a web series on the 18th of November, and then I'm I'm in a very small part of one of Pat's new films called Exit 17. Pat, is that what it's called? Exit 17. And then I wrote down a couple things here. Yeah, so there's a play that I'm going to be in. Rehearsal starts in December, I believe. So I'll be in a play here in Sparta, where I live. And what else? And then I'm working on You Filthy Animal, which hopefully we shoot soon. So lots going on, and I'm excited about You Filthy Animal because it's my first real film that I'm shooting.
Are you ready for it?
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited about it. It's a lot of work, and Pat's showing me some of the ropes, because it's my first time doing this. So he's being awesome, helping me out.
I bet you.
Um,
Are you gonna do storyboards?
no, no, not probably not
Oh,
story.
I was gonna say yours would probably be the
Yeah.
best drawn storyboards ever.
Thanks, man. No, no, I don't think there's enough time for that. But I mean, it'd be awesome to do it. But yeah, that'll take too long, I think.
Now, are you SAG after now?
No, not yet.
Not
Still
yet.
non-union. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Uh,
yeah,
uh, when that opportunity comes to you, you're gonna jump on that though, right?
yeah. If it's the right time, if it's the right time, I don't want to jump on it and not be able to do other projects because I'm in the union. You know what I mean?
Right. I
Um,
mean, now, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
I'm thinking a lot of actors right now. I don't know how that works. Some actors get it, and some don't. Some get to work, some don't. But yeah.
mhm.
Um. So
Yeah,
yeah.
the right
You're gonna.
time.
When are you gonna start? When are you gonna start filming Filthy Animals? I mean, is that gonna be after the play's over with?
I don't know, man. I still have to talk to Pat about that, Pat Bradley, and I'm still casting right now. I think once I find the right cast in the right locations, then I think that we'll start figuring out when we can shoot. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Should I put you on the spot and then say, is there
Go
a
ahead.
role for Melanie in that in this project?
Melanie. Maybe.
It's-
Maybe there is. Hey, getting Melanie
interview,
some work here.
interviewing and a casting director over
Look at
here.
you, man. Making miracles happen.
Hey, she's very talented too. Um,
Yeah,
um, oh, she just told me not to put you on the spot,
it's
but
okay,
that's what we
Melanie.
do. That's what we do here. We got to put him on the spot. Yeah, we're gonna make him like, well, how do I get out of that?
Well, we were just talking about improvising earlier, right? That's what I
Yeah.
do, man. It's all good.
If he cast her, do I get a credit for that?
Hell yeah, you do, man.
Then you got to use her.
You get an
Uh,
IMDb credit.
let's see. I would like to see. I would actually like to see that. That would be cool.
Have you been in any movies, Patrick? Have you done anything?
Have I? No, no,
Good.
no. I did live music for 10 years. Well, that's sort of acting. Millie says this is not a roast. No, not at all. I'm not roasting them at all.
I love it,
No. I
man.
mean,
I love it.
but you know what though, it does raise a question for me though, to ask you though, is that now that you will be casting your project,
Okay.
how many friends will actually come up to you and say, I'm your friend, you know me, I want to role in your movie? How do you tell friends that you can't just do that? You just can't cast as friends. You gotta go through the process. And does
There's
your
a very
relationship well, this is this your first casting job? I mean, as far as for your projects go, is this the first time you ever casted a project yourself?
yeah, yep. This is it,
Wow.
man. So to
So
answer that
you are
question,
gonna get that. You are gonna get people saying, hey,
no,
no.
no.
How do you stop that?
Here's how you answer that question. You don't have friends like that in the first place who push themselves into your projects when you're not asked. You don't keep friends like that, right? Like that's kind of awkward and weird to say, "Oh, you got to film? Oh, I'll play him." Like you just don't do that. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have friends like that who push themselves into my projects. So
I wonder if that's happened. Well, let's ask Pat that question because I'd like to see how he says. Has that ever happened to you, Pat, where you've announced a project and people come up to you saying that they know they're friends and they want to get in on a project? That's a really good question to ask because it happens, right? It happens.
it probably does, yeah. But yeah, not in my circle, man.
Yeah, that
Everyone.
that would that would be actually be very uncomfortable, I would think.
Of course, yeah. You don't want that.
Pat just says, no. He just says no. Or go out for an audition. Yeah, or send me a self-tape. Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. Interesting. Interesting. What's my last question to you
Okay.
about the play? What's the play called and what role will you play on it?
What the hell is the play called? It's called No Place, No Place Like Home. It's a little bit far out, and I have like 4 other acting gigs before that, so it's on my radar, but I'm not diving into it yet. But it's called No Place Like Home.
Are you
And
looking forward to it? Do you like doing live theater?
oh yeah, I love it all, man. I love it all. I really do. I'm very passionate about it. Live theater, film, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I
Yes,
see that.
sir. Yes, sir.
When Filthy Animals gets filmed and comes out, when it comes out, when you have to come back and talk to us about the filming process. We want to see what happens to your first film, and we would definitely have you come back and talk to us about and take notes because we'll be asking you about the process. Because first time director, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be really interesting. It's
Yeah.
gonna be fun.
It's funny because I've definitely directed other things before, but it just wasn't mine. Um, this is all mine. Do you know what I mean? So it's definitely a new experience. So I'd be happy to come back for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd love to have you come back yep, for definitely. All right, boys and girls, that is going to wrap up our show tonight. And it's going to wrap our show for the next 5 or 6 weeks as me and the cheetah, we're going on vacation for that time. I cannot thank you enough, Jeff, for coming out and hanging out with us. This was a
My pleasure,
lot
man.
of fun. A lot of fun. You're really easy to talk to, other than the Phillies thing. But you're really easy.
Hey, now what's going
You
on,
know
man?
what? You know what's funny? You know what's
I mean,
funny?
hey, man, the cuts are still, they're still healing, man. It's been a couple of
Oh,
days.
it's sort of fun to be able to talk sports a little bit with somebody. Because I'm a
Well,
sports guy, so it's a lot of fun to chirp in a little bit.
I know you're
Um,
wrapping this up, but just quick question: What? So who do you like? Yankees? What are the
yeah,
other teams you like?
I like the Steelers.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm ready.
and
I'm ready. I'm ready to end it, Patrick.
oh, is this that conflict on set that we're talking about?
Yeah. No.
What happens when the director likes the Red Sox and you are talking about the Phillies? I mean, what happens then?
I refuse to work for you. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's see. Let's see. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Pat just said, just don't mention the Eagles.
Fly, Eagles, fly. No, I'm
Oh,
just
man, Eagles are a good team. They're a good team.
love you, Pat.
Uh, that's all right, Pat. Pat. There's room on the Steeler bandwagon, baby. You can jump on our bandwagon.
Oh, no.
I want to thank you guys all so much in the chat for coming out there and hanging out. I really do appreciate it so much. Um, we will be missing you guys when we're gone. We will be missing you, but we will be back on December 5th with our good friend Spooky Kisses. Our good friend will be back, and she will be talking to us about her new season of spookiness, and that will be December 5th. And we'll also be talking to Ray Murray, the owner and operator of Cinephobia Releasing, and we'll be talking to him the first week of December as well. That's it for us. Thank you guys so much. This will be a lot of fun, and this was a lot of fun. And we will see you in a few weeks. Thanks so much, and stay right where you're at, Jeff. And to the
Sure.
chat, I'm going to say good night. Uh, let's see. And Pat saying he'll stick to his 0-17 Giants. Big, but they got Saquon Barkley. He's great. Thank you, Melanie. I appreciate it. All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
Have a great night.
See you guys.